Welcome to the Spirits, Angels, and Guides Oh My podcast.
Where the supernatural gets real, baby.
Hey, Tara.
Hello, Nan. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I am lovely. Thank you so much for asking. Before we start, I do want to preface this with my senior dog is with us. And so she is not a she's a he, and he's having moments. So I may get up and actually walk over to the door and let him in and out. I'm just saying. Thank you so much, everyone.
I know we have a lot of incredible listeners who are animal lovers, so I'm sure they appreciate the disclaimer. So, Tara, today we have a very cool topic. We are talking about ancestral energy. We're going to talk about how you're not starting from scratch, right? We're going to have a conversation about the inherited wisdom, unfinished stories, and why our souls don't arrive empty-handed. So, one of the biggest misunderstandings that I personally see in spiritual growth is the idea that we're starting from zero.
Like you arrive here with a blank slate.
Exactly. As if nothing came before you, no strength, no wisdom, no memories. And that's just not how energy works.
Or lineage, or souls, or with the exception of rainbow babies, but that's a topic for another day.
It is. I think we've done a podcast on that.
Go back and look,
and but today we're going to talk about ancestral energy, not in a heavy or burdened way that you see a lot of spiritual practitioners work with it, but in a resourced way because you didn't arrive here empty-handed.
No, I mean, obviously we arrived carrying stories, resilience, skills, knowing. It's just whether you consciously recognize that or not.
That's right. And sometimes what we're calling like personal struggle is actually ancestral momentum that's really trying to complete itself. Like in a lot of the Akashic work that I do, you hear talk about karma and things coming to a completion.
And that reframes everything though, right?
So if you've ever felt like you're behind, late, or trying to build something from nothing, this is going to be the episode for you. Okay, so let's ground this right away, Tara.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's just get into it.
Let's get into it.
Now we're making ancestral energy feel heavy. Okay.
Now we are. So ancestral energy, though, as you and I know, Tara, is not about being trapped by the past. It's about continuity. It's your ancestors aren't just names on a tree. They're patterns of survival, creativity, intuition, and adaptation that live in our nervous system and live in our cellular system, really, and our instincts, our choices. And often ancestral energy shows up in kind of the following ways. I would say it shows up as a natural resistance that you can't explain. I would say it shows up as skills that feel familiar without training. Does this make sense?
Yep, I'm here with you. I'm getting what you're putting down. I'm picking it up.
Perfect. It can show up as deep reactions to like injustice or loss or belonging. It can show up, right? That's a big one.
That's a big one.
It can show huge. I know for me, that's always one I'm working on.
I always think of my
sense
daughter for that one. Just a sec. For that one, deep reactions to injustice, loss, or belonging. I always think of how my daughter, like, she's very independent, little snarky, but she is always fighting the good fight. Like, she is like the most politically correct person you'll ever meet. You know, fully tattooed and everything, but she is like the person that would be like standing in front of like anyone or anything.
Well, this is big for you and I too. Like you and I are very much animal advocates. We've both been volunteering for years or used to volunteer for years in the animal welfare area. So it makes perfect sense to me that karmically and genetically and ancestrally, you and her are kind of on the same path.
Yeah, we're very different personalities, bar none. But
Yeah. Oh,
But we are definitely have that vibe, so for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. And then the last one I'd kind of bring up is really a sense of responsibility that feels older than you.
That feels older, yeah. I mean, that comes a lot with the Akashic records and the sense of past lives. And are you an old soul? Are you a young soul? And you know what? All of this doesn't require you to know your ancestry in detail for it to be active. And I think that's part of the reason that a lot of people like to find out their lineage, like to find out their ancestry
Yes.
kind of information. I will just be straight up and honest, my boo Nan. I have never been interested one iota in my in my I just not. Someone was like, "Oh, you're gonna do ancestry, whatever," and I was like, "No, no. There's other things that I'm
Yeah.
more interested in." Other people love it. They'll spend hours building family trees and finding out, they were related to King Charles the 19th from whatever century, and none of that interests me. And I don't
Yeah.
know why. Like I don't know. I like my Akashic records. I like to dive in there a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's just me.
And my mom is building this massive family tree. Massive. She's like, "You're going to take this over one day." And I'm like, "Am I? Oh dear." Because, my whole thing is I'm the same as you. And I really feel that energy doesn't need those genealogy records. I think it moves through our bodies, our soul, the choices that we are drawn to make. And I don't feel, I feel we're not inventing ourselves and that we're
Mm.
just a continuation of ourselves.
I think you should tell your
Does
mom
that
to
make sense?
finish it. Finish it before she transitions.
Yeah, I know, I
No,
know,
mom,
I
you'll
know,
be done.
exactly.
It'll be all perfect for you to just hand it down. Oh, my
Exactly,
goodness, my goodness, my
exactly.
goodness.
Now, one thing I've found, and you might be the same, is I find so many people come to readings with me feeling like they've failed somehow.
Hmm.
Like, I should be further along in life. I should be doing something different. I'm rebuilding my life again. I have to start over. And this is where I think spirit will step in and say, "Hey, you're not starting over. You're picking up where someone else had to stop."
That can be incredibly revealing and relieving
Yes.
and maybe
Yeah.
even confronting. That I feel like that is like a loaded gun. You're not starting over. What did you say? You're picking up where someone else had to stop. I think that's
Yeah.
loaded.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And it and I feel like often there's a tandem energy between us and our ancestors that we're carrying that genetic at a cellular level, and it we can often have it reframed reframing the struggle as an inheritance rather than an inadequacy, right? So we might not be the first in our lineage to choose rest, to choose emotional safety, to choose truth over survival, joy without permission. That's not starting from scratch. That's finishing something.
Right.
Like
So,
when I think about, even like when if you and I were to think about our grandmothers and what they did in life and all of the trials and
mhm,
tribulations,
mhm,
you and I are closing a lot of that loop on the karma, on the cellular
mhm.
closure with, acceptance, our place in the world as women, our place in the world with self-acceptance, right?
You know, it's interesting to me because I'm sitting here listening to what you're saying. And
Mhm.
we always have a little team meeting before we go on when Nan does a podcast and or I do it. We always have this little team meeting. I'm sitting here and your words that you're choosing, like you might not or you might be the first in your lineage to choose rest. And when you said to me, when you said all those words and then you said, well, think about our grandmas, Tara, and I was like, you know what, the weirdest thing, and I went specifically, Nan, to my dad's mom. So we called her Nana Carter. Well, we
Okay.
didn't call her Nana Carter, we called her Nana. But she was probably she Ukrainian descent, married to a German. My papa. Oh, papa. Um, but she was a hard mother fluffing worker, let me tell you. So you're
Yeah.
saying like you might be the first to choose rest, emotional safety, maybe truth over survival, and maybe joy without.
Mhm.
Those are all things I feel with every ounce of my being, and she can come through and tell me later tonight. But that she didn't do. Like, I feel like she worked super hella hard, and I feel like she did that because she didn't know anything else, so she wasn't emotionally safe. And I feel like survival was the key. So it wasn't about, it's not
Yeah.
about truth per se for her. It was more about just doing what you need to get done. That's the pattern, that's the behavior that she's taught, that's what you do. And I don't know how much joy was in that.
And then it fast forward to you and your sister, and maybe you're bringing a finishing to that. Maybe
And
you're
that,
bringing a
yeah,
closure.
I mean, some of it for sure. I
Mhm.
think we all have an ounce of our own. You know, you talk about inheritance again and not inadequacy, and a lot of people will say, and this is a trigger for me. We haven't done a trigger session in a long time. You have not said this is Tara's 300,210.567 trigger. You haven't said that in a while, but here it is. I really get concerned when people come in, sit down, and they instantly, and I'm going to get off topic a little bit, Nan, so stay with me, okay? Um,
I'm staying with you.
they get off, or they get into that space, and they come in, they plop themselves down, and they look at me with this woe begone face, and they say, "This is definitely, I'm carrying my parents' baggage from the past. I'm carrying my ancestors, karma." And I'm like, "Sweet goddess, is that really where we're going to go with this?" Because they're not coming in and with an understanding of that. So what I'm trying to get, my point is here is that I feel like they use it as an excuse for where they're at in their
Oh,
lives. Do you see me? Are
okay.
you picking
Okay.
up what I'm putting down,
Yeah.
baby?
I'm picking up what you're putting down. Keep going.
So I thank you for loving me so much. Um, so I feel like sometimes when people come in, not everyone, baby, not everyone, but when they come into the space and they sit down and it's like, I don't really understand what I'm saying. I've heard someone parrot this somewhere else, and I'm not feeling good about myself. So I'm blaming my lineage. I'm blaming the ancestors because I
Right.
don't know who else to blame, and I don't want it on me.
And that's kind of a good way to segue it to, these are really gifts that we don't recognize yet. And I think if we can figure out how to work with it, I think if we can figure out that, then we're not carrying it as a crutch, we're using it as a tool for healing, right?
Yeah, I
So
see that.
ancestral, right? And so ancestral energy doesn't only carry wounds, but it's carrying competence. And it can come through in a whole bunch of different ways so that the healing can begin,
Why
right?
do you, man? Why do you
Just the
think?
rec
Let me just, I know I'm being a pain in your ass today, but let me just interrupt again. Why do you think people, like, I would love to hear your perspective because you work in the Akashic Records way more than I do now. It's funny how our journeys, you start over here and then you kind of end up over here, and I'm in a very different place.
yeah.
But you work way more in the Akashic Records. And why do you think people are so attuned to want to carry these wounds? It's almost like they're wearing them like a badge of honor. When you say competence, I felt my whole body be like, yeah, yeah, that word, I love that word. I'm competent. I want to be competent. But why do you think so many
Yeah.
people, like, what's your thought on that?
Well, a lot of the Akashic work that I do is sort of tandem. It opened up a lot for me because as I was doing my animal readings, I was naturally dipping into their Akashic records. And so the people's Akashic records started coming forward, and I had two books open at the same time, kind of going through things, right? And even animals have that healing part. So all of these lessons that we're bringing to the fold, all of these different things, we have to continue to work on. We have to continue. So whether it's coming ancestrally, whether it's coming from our past lives, it's something that needs to have that forward momentum so our soul can continue to level up. Does that kind of answer
Yeah.
your question?
Yeah, I really, I love what you just said there, and I know that you're gonna talk to us in a few minutes about like what you see the gifts as they come through. and I just want to put it out to our listeners and whoever's watching, is that we still have personal responsibility in this life. So even if we
Absolutely.
are working on past lives or ancestral carriage or inner child and all these things, you are still a spirit here to have the human experience. So you have to
Yes.
own what's here now. You
Yeah.
have to own it.
Yeah.
And really say, even if it is that you have to go back and deal with lineage and ancestral stuff, even if that's it.
But don't use it as a crutch. Use
That
it
is,
as a tool. Use it as something to learn that forward momentum of been there, done that, bought the t-shirt, now I can move forward, right?
I want a t-shirt that literally says we should have, not only should we have a bumper sticker business, we should have a t-shirt business. Every time we come up with something cool. Deal with your ancestry
Okay.
shit. No. That's not the one I would have put out, babies. That's not the one I would have put out. Don't blame your
Yes.
great grandmother.
Okay, so let's talk about getting past the wound part and getting to the competence part. Let's talk about getting to where I see the ancestral gifts coming through. Is that cool?
I guess I'm ready now. Thank you.
Are you okay? I just we want a little permission to proceed, and Tara's done the trigger. We're good.
Thank you for asking.
Okay, so I often see these gifts come through in different ways. So work with me and see agree or disagree, Tara. So leadership without domination.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, yeah.
Okay. Intuition that feels practical.
Oh, 110%. That one is that's
Okay.
a me thing. That's a vibe. Okay. Carry on.
Okay. The ability to read a room instantly.
Also my vibe. So yes, keep going.
Yes. Um, and this one I really feel ancestrally is emotional endurance.
That's a hard one, I think, for most people. I know it is for me. And
Yeah.
for me, for a variety of reasons. So remember, ancestral stuff is what you carry from lineage, etc. But you still have personality. You still have all this other stuff that's your own unique things. For me, emotions, like I am the emotional, like up and down, over here, over there. I'm 1 minute I'm
What?
happy, the next minute I'm sad. And then you add trauma to it, or you add drama to it, or whatever you add to it. Now you have all sorts of things. So emotional endurance is something for me personally that has to be practiced.
Yes, but I think from an ancestral perspective,
Mm-hmm.
I see a lot of traits. I carry a lot of my grandmother's traits and my mother's traits that they had that emotional endurance,
Mm.
right? And so that's carried through in that type of way.
Oh, maybe I misunderstood. Yeah. I don't know because I don't feel. Yeah, I don't know. I have to sit with that one. Keep going, baby. Keep going. Don't wait on me.
Okay.
I got work to do.
And then one more would be creativity that feels necessary and not optional.
And literally, I just did this is just how I am kind of talk. But I think you're right. People often will dismiss this as this is just how I am. But it's because they don't know better. It's
Right.
because they don't know better.
Right. And when in reality, that's your lineage memory at work. So spirit will often come forward and point out that we're standing in generations of strength, but yet we're acting like we're alone, and we're not alone. We are so supportive by those who we've survived, who have brought us here.
That's cool. That's cool. I
Yeah.
like the fact that I'm
Yeah.
being supported, by my ancestors. I like that fact. And again, this was a great topic for you to dive into, for sure. So for me, I just like to know that, I'm up there being looked after. Someone's patting me on the head once in a blue moon. Someone's saying, good job, Tara. Good job. Keep going, girlfriend.
Well, do you ever talk to them? Like, do you ever talk to your ancestors?
I'm okay. We're about to have a moment, everyone. Gather yourselves together. I don't. I don't.
Okay.
I am the weirdest medium probably under the sun. Um, Healthy ego moment. Mediumship comes easy to me. I don't follow people's rules. I don't follow, you know, maybe even the standards of mediumship because I believe we all do it differently. But
Hmm.
one of the things I don't do is I don't. People ask me all the time, Nan, do you talk to Ryan? Ryan being my son that's on the other side. And I don't. I think about him. He shows me
Hmm.
signs. That number 10 is going to be engraved in my forehead. But he shows me signs, but I don't reach out to that. I don't reach out to my mom. I don't reach. I might be like, oh, thinking of your mom, but that's like kind of it. Like that's the kind of thought. Like, oh, she kind
Okay.
of floats by, and I'll be like, oh, love you, mom. But I don't talk to her. I don't sit back. Don't do that with Auntie Peggy, with Nana, Papa. I just don't do that. Why should I be doing that? I don't think so. Not for me. Not for me. For someone else, absolutely.
No.
Do not follow Tara's trends. But tell me why you asked that question, Boo Boo.
I was just curious because I have a lot of people that come to me for readings and they spend a lot of time talking to their ancestors. And I do sometimes. I'm very similar to you. I think it's different when you're mediums because we spend so much time with one foot here and on the other side when we're doing the work. And so we just know that they're there. And I find for a lot of people who come to us for readings, they need hope, they need confirmation, they need, yes, my loved one is there. Yes, they're listening to me when I'm talking because it gives them this renewed hug of love, right?
And the other thing for me personally, Nan, when you just said all of that, was that I know they're there. I know they're watching me.
Yeah.
I just know it. So I don't seek anything further. I mean, Ryan's a
Yeah.
little bit different. Once in a blue moon. I got into the car the other day, Nan. I was going to call and tell you about this, but life is all over the place. But I got into the car. I was going to court for Ryan.
Yeah.
And I looked down into my cup holder. And in the cup holder is a ticket. Like, we use for when we do readings at a place and they say $10, 10 minutes,
Yeah.
whatever. I don't know
Yeah.
why. It's one of those tickets and it says 10 on it. Just the number 10 written by, I
I
don't know,
love it.
maybe Delynn, I don't know, my assistant. I don't know. But it was just sitting there upright in the cup holder. And I looked down and I was
And
like,
was it when you needed a hug from him? Was it when you needed
well,
just confirmation?
going to court is always draining. You go through this cycle where you get all pumped up when you're getting in the car to go there because you're going to go hit these guys head on. You're going to look at them in the eye and you're going to be like, I own you. And you get all hyped up and then at the end of it you're drained. As you know, I do no work after I go to court. I do nothing.
Now, Tara, just for people who are just joining our podcast for the first time, would you mind giving a quick kind of couple sentence update on what we're talking about?
So my son in 2023 was murdered, and we are going through the process of. There's 4 accused, 2 have pled guilty, so we're in the middle of sentencing procedures, and 2 have not, and we are in heading towards trial in 2027 if that goes through. I don't think it will. I think
Yeah.
they'll come to the table. So yeah, there's a lot of emotion, and I think Ryan left that beautiful note, that beautiful
Yeah, you
little
needed
pin
it.
there, just to say, "Hey, Mama, I'm with you. Go get him, girl."
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, enough
Yeah.
about that. But I wanted to put that out there.
Okay.
Go, baby.
I love that. I love that
I
he
love
gave
you.
you a
Let me
sign.
talk about him.
You know, it's not a matter of letting. I think we should, because as we're talking about ancestors, as we're talking about our loved ones on the other side, we're keeping his memory alive. We're keeping the horrible thing that was done first and forefront so people know that there's an injustice that happened and keeping his memory alive in a good way too when we talk
Yeah.
about him.
Yeah, in a really good way. He was a great kid.
Yeah. He was very loved and so were you. All right. So let's talk about when ancestral energy calls us forward. Okay. So sometimes ancestral energy becomes loud during transitions. And this can also ring true. I know people that are sitting there listening are going to go, okay, how is this any different from spirit guides? But we got a whole team on the other side, people. We got our spirit guides and our ancestors. So we're talking ancestors today. So career shifts, healing cycles, boundary work, parenting differently, ending cycles. That's usually when someone in the lineage finally has capacity to change the pattern. I think parenting differently is a huge one. And boundary work, oh my gosh. Like, I am such a different parent than my mother was, and such a different parent than her mother was.
Oh, for sure. Oh, for sure. For sure. And it's not easy. None of this is easy, right? But
Yeah.
it's possible when you look at it. This is all possible.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. And you don't carry ancestral energy to suffer from it because you can do something with it. So completion is an act of love. We're learning from it, right?
I love that. It's an act of love.
Yeah. So what do we not have to carry anymore? This is a question that I'm going to ask our listeners because this is an important one. And I want to say honoring your ancestors does not mean repeating their pain. Okay? That's huge. And I want to say that again. Honoring your ancestors does not mean repeating their pain. You're allowed to put things down. You can put survival mode, silence, self-erasure, over-functioning, all that can be put down.
Amen.
Because spirit's gonna, right? So often spirit's gonna say, they've already honored it. They don't need to carry that forward. So respect doesn't require repetition. We've sort of learned.
Which I think is
Move
really
forward.
valid to what I said beforehand, Nan, which is like, don't come, plop yourself down and be like, nope, this is my ancestors' problem. They didn't well deal with it. Now they've left it to me to deal with. Because that is likely not true.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're going to do just a little teeny mini exercise to wrap the episode up. And I really want everyone to think about this phrase, what I inherited that supports me. Okay. So I want everyone to take a deep breath, place one hand on your chest and one on your lower belly. And I want you to ask yourself quietly, what strength did my lineage pass to me that I can trust now? And don't search. Just let one word, image, or feeling arise. And that's not your imagination. That's your memory.
And notice it usually feels steady and not like overpowering dramatic.
And on that note, Miss Tara, that is what I had to bring to the table this week.
I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that. So, on that note, go and follow us, subscribe, do all the things you do for us, and we will be back next week with, I don't know, something else. And I never remember all this stuff, babies. But go follow us on our platforms, please. Go subscribe. Forward this to someone that you think would find this interesting. We appreciate all your love and all your support, and we will catch you next time.
Thanks, everyone.
Okay, bye. Thanks for joining us on this journey into the wonderfully weird and metaphysical.
If you loved what you heard, don't forget to follow us for more insights and behind the scenes fun.